Well, hello, 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 hello. So let's just put it out there right now. If I've got anything I'd love to say, it's this. You can read it, think about it. I'm one of the people who was just about to buy a Komodo X. So, yeah. As we all know, if you've watched the Sony release today, they just threw like the biggest, well, you know the words to it. It starts with an F and it has a Y in it, and that's just the way it is to the rest industry. Uh, they have now announced a global shutter hybrid camera that can actually shoot 4K RAW with an external Atomos recorder and 120 frames per second. That's just in beast mode. And they didn't even talk about the most important part of it for someone like me is I still get 24-bit audio through XLR, and that's a K3M adapter. So I mean, like, man, it's like everything. So let's kind of go over this A9. I love it already. It's on my list of cameras to have for next year. Looks like I'll be adding to the productions. Um, let's just get right to it. If we're looking at the A9, I mean, seriously, this is just an amazing camera. $6,000. That's Red Komodo starting price for the original Red Komodo. Don't need, and why am I bringing up the Red Komodo? Global shutter, and a lot of people are doing medium and small productions, are taking advantage of the global shutter. They're sports events, things like that. They're catching slow mo. They're catching whatever they need. I do a lot of videos like that, and the global shutter is a very awesome tool for that. And this having global shutter is amazing. Now, all the rest of the stuff, you start talking about all this 120 frames per second, 1/8,000ths, and all that. Hey, that's cool. I do photography too. It's great. Pre-capture is awesome. All the rest. But let's get over to here. This is probably some of the most important pieces to this whole camera that they didn't even talk about at the event. 4K with no rolling shutter issues. So that's awesome. 120p, no issues with that little bit of crop in. S-Cinetone for delivery, S-Cinetone is probably the easiest one to just get right back to our corporate clients immediately with good tone, good skin tone, good look, good everything. Up and down roughly about 10 stops, which is all I really need, about 10 or 11 stops of good solid working with. And that's the most you're going to need if you did your work right. I love the breathing compensation thing. That if you have not used it before, you do not know just how important it is. So that's some of the things that are like just jumping out at me. Beyond that, you got your regular stuff. Uh, I don't know how this Ethernet's going to work out, but I do know having 3.2, 10 gigabit USB-C, that's huge for delivering product. And the other part that I really, really like, if you've been on set with so many of these different other cameras out there, you have proprietary chargers. I'm talking, we use the Canon C70s all the time. The proprietary chargers just kick us in the head. And being able to just use a PD, a power delivery USB-C to power this unit while powering other stuff on set, especially for you Mac users, because you love power delivery. Here you go. That's some of the stuff. Now I'm going to kind of gloss over some of the cool things. They got the full frame thing. They got the A9 global shutter. Notice they talk about no blackout and stuff like that, which is cool, but it means nothing to me. I do some photos here and there, and I do step and repeats. We do, event photography. This all works out good. 24 megapixels is more than enough. Believe me, I've got a 33 megapixel now. I've had a 46 megapixel. Really haven't had a need to go above 24. It's just always been like a sweet spot. It just seems to work good. Of course, they got all this other stuff, photo gallery, new movement, split second stuff. They explain how this new error capture works out. This blackout free thing is really cool. I like it. Not the big thing for me. This sport part for photography, this is kind of cool. We do a lot of golf courses, so having the ability to, they're swinging and it looks good, or baseball, same thing. That's pretty dang awesome. Here is my biggest concern. So if we're going to start talking about the big Scary thing about Sony is overheating. They have amazing processors, but their biggest problem is they don't have cooling systems in them. This could be an issue if I'm doing a long live stream, 2, 3, 4 hours. And we do those. Those are live broadcasts. It depends on if it's a golf course or an event or a seminar. We do all of them, and that could be an issue. So I want to see how that part goes. Now, for most productions, so here's where people are going to say, "Well, it doesn't really matter because it's this or that, and this is why Sony sucks. Is the overheating issue." Most productions, like most of the times we're shooting stuff, we're shooting for 15 to 20 minutes at a time. Take a break, go do something else, reset a scene. 10, 15 minutes later, we're taking another shot for 5 to 10 minutes of go, stop, go, stop, go, stop. In that case, there, the overheating shouldn't be a problem because we're only going 5, 10 minutes at a time. And if you're doing a real productions, that's pretty cool. So we're going to see. The only thing that's going to be the driver is live streams. And to be perfectly frank with you, if it comes down to this as an issue on live streams, I'll use my FX30s for the live streaming and then use these for the higher pay production tickets. And that's just the way it goes because I'll handle so many other things. Who cares about the free? That I understand some of you do, but I don't. These are things I do care about. The recognition of subject matters. This is pretty awesome. It can recognize the body shapes, car shapes, animal shapes, train shapes. That's pretty cool. Will it work really good in video? We will find out. But that's kind of a cool thing there that does that. The continuous boost, this is going to be great for our sports photography, which we're expanding more into since COVID has pretty much been over. People are getting used to doing events again. And one of the things I had my expertise is sports photography. This should allow us to do a bigger ticket and help you get a real all around shoot so we can get the amazing no rolling shutter with the video and the B-roll and A-roll for that, and also get the photography the same day. We'll be running 2 of these cameras at once, so it really is a nice way to go. Customized focus areas. I love this. This is going to be really cool. I love how that goes. The tracking is supposed to be extremely well. We will see. And the other part that kind of gets me, and this is one of those catch-22 things. We do a lot of off-camera flash photography. We will actually light up a room. So this is where we do things a little bit different. We will have a whole room lit up. I'll have flashes on C-stands throughout the room, pointed up, and it gives us a nice ambient light throughout the room. But of course, you're limited to 1/400th or 1/250th. We can even get to 1/1000th. We could get some amazing new shots throughout the room. And this is saying it can go to 1/80,000th, which means you have to use their flashes. I'm not really happy with the last time I had their flashes. I've had the RM flashes before, so let's see how they do this time around. If it's really good, hey, that's awesome. Of course, a flicker free. The global shutter eliminates any banding, which is kind of cool. Full frame video. Here's where they start talking about this, and this is really cool, but it wasn't like the big thing in the presentation. And this area here, the 4K distortion free video, which is nice. The no cropping in for a Sony. I don't know if you own a Sony or not, because if you do, you understand the dilemma here. That 50 millimeter becoming a 65 millimeter or a 60 millimeter is a pain in the, you just don't know. You have 100 millimeters, it turns into 120. You have a 200 that turns into 240. That gets annoying because you're trying to frame things, and sometimes when you're switching over to slow-mo, it just really messes everything up. Color tone, hey, S&E tone is great. I don't know if they're going to have S-Log in here. If they do, that would just set it over the top. Personally, I don't use too much S-Log, not because I can't use it. It's more or less the client's not going to pay for the post-production side that it takes to do it properly. Now, for my clients that do, thank you, because I get to produce some of the most amazing footage that you could ever get your hands on. I love it, but it doesn't always happen that way. The auto framing thing is pretty cool. The breathing compensation thing is pretty cool. Dynamic stabilization is cool. The question mark I have, will this also crop in or not? frankly, it doesn't make a difference. It's a 24 megapixel sensor, which is like a 6K dropping down to a 4K. I could live with the crop in personally because you're not going to see the difference. Auto framing, don't know if I'm going to be using that very much. It might be a cool thing, might not be a cool thing. I have not tried it out yet, but I think it might be good. Uh, Essentially, the rest is just the same old stuff. You know, this front is a custom button. I'll probably change it to something else like slow-mo. It won't be the the speed up, but you can change that custom button. This may be important, you know, the viewfinder, and not that interested in it. The CF Express Type A, I have my concerns with those. They have a limit so far for speed of roughly about 800 megabits. Just don't know if that's going to be fast enough, providing that they're going to do 120 frames per second as a buffer. Of course, I'm in the Seattle area. Rain, moisture is an issue. We'll see how well the moisture protection is. Beyond that, everything else just seems like it's really cool. You know, workflow seems pretty cool. Built-in Wi-Fi. This part right here, the IPTC metadata presets, that's cool. There are times I'm turning in photos and that just have to have this information in it. I have to go back in and put all the metadata in, which is not a deal breaker. I can put the same presets into Capture One, and it's not a big deal. But being able to turn in the photos and JPEGs right away with everything already on it, that's kind of a big deal. It just makes my life a little bit easier, and then makes the paychecks come quicker. So if you're a photographer and you want to get a paycheck bigger and faster and quicker, and being able to hook into the Ethernet systems they have for quick send, which there was on there earlier. There's a little Ethernet piece on there. Buy one of these. You're going to do it good. You can tag some notes in too, but the tagging the notes that's for you, but that's not really for the client unless they look that over. A lot of give me good photos to work with right away. Give me 10, 15 choices of this one, 10 or 15 choices of that scene, 10 or 15 choices of that. And why 120 frames per second is important? They want 10 to 15 photos to choose from where they get that last little minute difference between the next person's article, the next person's video. So that's why you got to worry about that. Overall, body shape looks like it's going to be the same. So I'm cool with that. The net zero thing, I'm cool with that. Creator stuff is pretty cool. The big thing, oh man, I went through all that and didn't switch over. Damn it. That was my fault. Actually, I'm going to restart this one. I hate when I don't have a producer with me when I'm doing this. I make these little mistakes. I keep forgetting to do the transition. So I guess I can just start again. Catch y'all later.